Welcome to Living the Journey with Live Fertility Center. I am your host, Dr. Andrea Medina, and I will be your guide in this process of resilience, hope, and possibility. Today, we have a beautiful and wonderful guest. Her name is Karla Martin del Campo, and she is our laboratory director and our clinic director. So let's welcome our guest, Karla. Karla, please introduce us a little bit more about what LIV does and what are the treatments that LIVs offer to their patients.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you so much for the introduction. First of all, I'm delighted with this new project. Actually, I believe the podcast is going to allow us to reach many people and, keep them well informed about the fertility treatment. So I hope this be the first of many episodes. So now, straight to the point. What is IVF? IVF means in vitro fertilization, which is a remarkable medical treatment that has helped on countless patients to have a baby around the world. This IVF process involves the manipulation of gametes, means the reproductive cells outside of human body, under a controlled environment in the laboratory, where we are going to fertilize the eggs with the sperm cells to create the embryos. The embryos are going to grow. We are going to make them grow until the moment of the embryo transfer to the uterus. Of course, this requires a highest biotechnology. However, this is not just about science. It's about hope, it's about courage, it's about dreams, it's about the strong belief that a family is possible, even if it's difficult.
I think that who better than you can explain a process like this? You are the one that it is in the laboratory seeing all this technology making their job and making magic at the laboratory. Okay, I want to go back in time and ask you, when was LIV Fertility Center found?
Well, LIV Fertility Center was founded in 2014. Oh my God, that means almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years
ago. I had the fortune to be a part of the founding staff at LIV, so I've been here since the very beginning. And from the very beginning, we are committed to help our patients with the best technology and the best medical care.
All right. For how long, Karla, have you been in the fertility field? I know that you have been doing reproduction for a long time ago, but tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, I believe that almost 20 years now.
Okay.
I
think you start very young because you look very young. So I guess that you start very young.
Thank you. Yeah, in 2006, I started in this field. I have the opportunity to be in Europe and known also many clinics in Mexico, big clinics too. So I have bring all this knowledge, all this expertise to LIV.
I under the understanding that Spain is one of the biggest countries that are doing in vitro. So I guess that doing a master there is one of well, a wonderful thing for healthcare providers in the field of reproduction. That means a lot of achievements for healthcare in this field, I guess.
That's correct. Spain is one of the pioneers in human reproduction, actually. And yeah, I had the opportunity to do them a master degree there.
Okay.
And learn a lot of things.
All right. Okay. We nowadays we have there are many IVF clinics, and I want to know what is the value proposition of Live Fertility Center.
In Live Fertility Center, we have 3 basic principles. The first one is expertise. We proud ourselves to have a team, fertility doctors, embryologists, and all the healthcare professionals of world class.
Okay.
That allowed us to ensure to our patient to have the best treatment and the most new one, and with the most with the better outcomes. Okay, the next one is compassion. We completely understand that the path of motherhood is not easy, not always easy, can be stressful, long sometimes. We focus, of course, in the medical care. However, we focus also in emotional support,
Right.
counseling. We create a live an environment that make our patient feel like family. We're talking about a clinic that we can compare completely with the best in the world. However, it's normal that we have many international patients that comes to a country with a different language. So for us, it's very important that they feel good.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the other one, and for me is very important, the success. I'm very proud that for all this year we have maintained the best success rate. And we are very transparent. Every year we share with our patients the recent pregnancy rates. For example, today that is our first episode and we are going to focus especially in egg donation. We have right now a pregnancy rate over 70%, which is absolutely amazing.
As mentioned before, we had nowadays a lot of clinics, and I want to ask, if a patient reached to us, what are the best things about doing IVF at Live?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, there is many advantage of choosing Live like your clinic for do the treatment. One of these is the advantage technology. Live has a laboratory equipped with the highest technology. We have the best quality control, which, as we mentioned before, that allowed us to be at the same level, and sometimes, in some aspect, even better level than in the best clinics in the world.
Yes, we're very surprised about that.
Another one is the personalized care. For us, every patient is unique. It's not just a number. It's a patient, it's a family. For this reason, our patients are going to receive a personalized, accurate care according with their needs.
Mm-hmm. And this is very important that you mention it, because going back to what I was saying just a few minutes ago, people come and patients come with already a diagnosis, with already they already know that they are going to do an IVF. So they already have this experience in the US. And something that they mention after they leave, after they complete their treatment, is that they don't feel as a number anymore. We know their names, we know their stories, we know, we have asked how your family is going, how was your treatment at the States. And I really share this idea with you. We do care about patients, and I think that patients have seen it, and they are very grateful about healthcare taking the time to review not just the file, not just hormonal levels, but their journey and why they are struggling, not just with fertility, but the struggle with other things that obviously affects fertility.
Correct. This is one of our main goals, that
Yes.
even if we have a huge workload, we take the time to take care of our patients, every one of them.
Yeah.
Well, another advantage is inclusive environments. You will see in many clinics that they select that kind of patients only to treat. Not over 40, not single patients, not LGBT community, etc. Here at Live, we offer a fertility treatment for everyone, for every patient that needs and wants a baby. Single patient, straight couples, LGBTQ community. We adapt, we help them about their needs. Another advantage that we cannot take for granted is the location. We are absolutely in a paradise. Puerto Vallarta is a city in Mexico that offers you a beautiful beaches, a great weather. It's completely a safety place. In the news, in other countries, says that Mexico is very dangerous. Here is completely safe. So the patient can combine the fertility treatment with an excellent and relaxing vacations too.
Yeah, I agree with you. I could say that Puerto Vallarta is one of the most visited places in Mexico, and I can tell you that it is safe, and many Americans and many Canadians are proof of this, because they have choose Puerto Vallarta to retire and to be here for a very long time.
The last but not the best, the less important, is affordability. We understand that the cost of fertility treatment can be a major concern for many patients. At Live, we offer the IVF treatment at lower cost compared with USA or Canada. But the most important thing is without compromise the quality, the medical care, and the success rate.
I agree with you. Many patients have, maybe the reason why they are looking for IVF abroad, out of their countries, is because affordability. So this Live Fertility Center, I am confident that we can offer the two things: affordability and do and treat our patients with the top of technology. Karla, thank you very much for being here. You are first guest. I don't want to lie, I was very nervous about this interview. I know that there are many things that are unsaid, many things, many journeys, many stories that are in the laboratory, some stories of success, some stories of joy, and definitely we will have you here again. I know that you have a lot of stories to share and a lot of expertise also. So we will have you here again, definitely.
Thank you so much, Andrea. You are the best host. I was very nervous, so I hope the next time I'll be more relaxed. But thank you so much. You're very good.
Okay. I hope to have your team here, because you have a team.
Yes.
They're in the laboratory. So they are very welcome. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And absolutely, I will bring the kids of the lab.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hi guys, we have two special guests. We already have the embryologist of Lee Fertility Center, and now we have the two specialists. And these two people are doctors that I admire, and that they are doing a wonderful job in the journey of our patients, in the journey to parenthood. So let's welcome Dr. Aline and let's welcome Dr. Isabel.
Hi.
So Aline, if you can tell me a little bit more about yourself. I know that you came from Mexico City and that you studied there for too many years. So I want to know more about you.
And well, just as you said, I have a bachelor degree in medicine, physiologic, in the Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Mexico, that is the biggest university here in Mexico. Then I made an specialist in gynecology and obstetrics in Mexico City, and 2 years more about with learning reproduction in the Instituto Nacional de Prenatología, that it's a renowned institute in Mexico City.
So Dr. Isabel, I know that it is the same kind of path that Dr. Aline followed. You did medicine, right, in UNAM. Did you have that idea also of becoming a doctor in reproduction?
Yes or no. When I was in gynecology, I always liked the research topics, helping to people to at this moment of the delivery of the baby, and was great. So then when I was a gynecologist during the 3rd grade, we have a rotation in human reproduction. And when I see the follicles, the ovaries, the first heartbeat of the babies was exciting, and I really like this. So this was the principal reason that I decided to become an IVF doctor.
Okay, doctor, how do you feel about being part of this incredible team?
Well, being here in Lee Fertility makes me feel very, very happy. It's kind of a dream come true, being here working with patients with these kind of issues. And here in Puerto Vallarta, in this clinic, with all my coworkers that I consider very, very professionals, working with Dr. Isabel, I think it's a great experience to my life, and it's very rewarding because I'm learning a lot of things, not just in fertility. I learn about my patients also in each visit, in each first visit with different patients of all the parts of the world. So I learn about culture, languages, and not just in fertility. So it has been a pleasure being here.
Okay, what about you, doctor? What are your personal thoughts about being here and being part of this?
I am very happy. I really like how everyone of this team has the same goal, which is to make happy to the patients, to understand, and not only just be another number.
Okay, so this episode is about egg donation. So I want to ask Dr. Isabel, what are your experiences with egg donation?
Well, we have some patients that for some medical reason can't no use her own eggs, genetical issues, low ovarian reserve, poor quality. So the egg donation is a very good option with these kind of patients because increase a lot the chances to get a pregnancy, around 60-70%. So it's a very, very, very good option for this kind of patients. Increase the possibility, and the goal is the same. Little baby in your hands. So it's a very good option.
All right. Dr. Aline, can you give us a brief explanation of what is egg donation? What is IVF with egg donation?
Yes. Well, we have two kind of treatments. For example, we can make a fresh cycle or a frozen cycle. The first one, well, we have here a Cryobank. So a lot of eggs from different patients, not just Mexican, also patients or donors from too many places in the world. So we have a lot of options. So at the first consultation or the first appointment with us, we evaluate the case and we choose with the patient. We take together a choose about the options that we have. And for example, if they choose the Cryobank, it's a frozen cycle because we have to thaw the eggs and fertilize. And another treatment is when we have a specific donor for a patient and it's like a kind of fresh. I mean, during this retrieval, we can also stimulate the patient to receive the embryo. And the success rate doesn't change. It's only preference, or maybe it's if more comfortable for the patient, talking about the timelining and everything. So there are the way that we work with patients with donor eggs, and it's very, very easy.
Okay. Not all the patients are suitable for an egg donation, and not all the patients leads to egg donation. What are the most common reasons? The question is for both of you. What are the most common reasons for require egg donation?
Well, the quality of the eggs. For example, the age. With age, the quality of the eggs decrease. Endometriosis affects the quality too. And these are the principal reasons that the patient choose egg donors.
The age, it's definitely very, very important, but also we have young patients without ovarian reserve or with a very decreased ovarian reserve. So we take a value of a hormone very, very special, that it's anti-Mullerian hormone, and that give us a lot of information about the ovarian reserve. So for example, when we have patients below 35 and we didn't see enough follicles in their ovaries, we ask for that blood work or test. And if we found, for example, a little level or a value below 1.1, but for example 0.1, it is good to take that opportunity and use eggs from donor.
And only a couple of cases, maybe treatment of cancer, Turner syndrome, or other genetic issues. But almost always is for quality, endometriosis, or low ovarian reserve.
Okay, what would you think about patients with a lot of miscarriages and with a lot of failed IVF? Is this suitable? Is this patient suitable for egg donation?
Not all of them. We need to research how is the factors that are producing this miscarriage, because we are with patients with recurrent miscarriage, and almost always are for immunological issues or genetical issues. Just a couple of cases, but no, almost always are the quality of the eggs.
I think, as Dr. Isabel told us, the main reason for pregnancy loss, it's not genetical. I mean, there are a lot of things, but for example, when we have a patient with a specific genetical problem that maybe can pass to their sons, we can choose a donor egg, because we don't want that information or genetical information or issue in their sons. So that could be another reason.
However, we have the PGT testing. So if for some reason these patients have the diagnosis of some syndrome, for example, and no eggs are affected, maybe we can use the PGT and choose only the good embryos.
What would be the advice, not just maybe medically, but also personal advice to your patients, to the patients that are looking for egg donation and have already decided to go with egg donation, what would be your advice?
My main advice would be to have patience, because it's not a fast journey. Probably some cases are going to take more time than we are planning, and every patient is different. Everybody has different conditions, for example, in the uterus, or maybe talking about numbers, okay? And so if for some reason with egg donation, even though we have success in the first embryo transfer, don't give up, because it's kind of prognosis, and we could have another options and opportunities. So maybe we can have, it's going to take more time than we are planning, but at the end of the day, we can make it happen.
Okay. Dr. Isabel, what would be your advice for these patients, for our patients?
Well, I know that it's difficult, maybe sometimes choose donors for another woman. That is the principal reason that this kind of patients. But at the end of the way, the pregnancy will be in the uterus of the patients that want to get pregnant. So a lot of molecular ways, epigenetics change in her body, and then of the way, the baby is part of the patient. So I know that this issue is difficult, but the reason to choose these eggs is for maybe this situation. So even the genetical link maybe is not directly the motherhood, and the end of the way is special in every woman.
Okay. Thank you very much, doctors, for sharing a little bit about your journey, share a little about your experience. And this is the first podcast from many, many, many. And I hope to have you here again. And thank you very much.
No, thank
All right, guys, we are almost finished our episode of today. This is the last part. And we have now two special guests in a very important process of the clinic, which is selecting a egg donor. So welcome. Let's welcome to Otoniel.
Hello.
And let's welcome David.
Hi.
Guys, I have many questions for you. I don't think that all these questions can be answered today. This is why we will have more meetings anytime soon. But I want to ask you, David. I want to know, what is your role in LIF? You are now a coordinator of the Cryobank, right?
Okay, basically, on the Cryobank department, I'm in charge to provide our egg donors database. Once the patients tell me the characteristics they're looking for on an egg donor, I can provide the access to our database. Then they see the donors and they tell me, hey, I'm interested in this one or that one. Can you tell me, please, what can you share? Anything else? Can you share about this specific donor? Oh, okay, this donor is from Western Europe. She has 2 brothers, or can be only child. You know, that kind of information.
Hi, Otto. What is your role in the process of an egg donation?
Well, I'm the donors coordinator. My function is to screening all the women, screening all the tests to make sure they are available to be part of this program. I work closely with the medical team to make the experience of the donor safe, and I make sure every detail of the medical part, of the genetic part, will be okay for this process.
So I want to know, and I want to ask you, what is egg donation?
Egg donation is an altruistic process. A woman who wants to help another woman who has a low reserve, ovarian reserve, or they don't have a reserve, this is a good candidate to apply for this program. So the egg donation is a process for health, a process of love, people who wants to help another one. So it's use this donor to help to create a family with the intended parents couple sample, the sperm sample, to create an embryo, and this that embryo will be transferred at the future with the intention to create a pregnancy
And a baby.
and a baby.
Okay, David, how is the egg donation program at Live Fertility Center?
It is a very strict program where in our database, every patient are able to see photos of every egg donor from their childhood until today's. And also they will find their medical history, also family medical history, their parents or siblings, even grandmothers and grandfathers. And they are able to see their characteristics has been talking, and that's how our program really is, basically.
Right, you mentioned something super important, I guess, that is, I guess that the patient is thinking about how the baby will look like. Is the baby going to look like me? Is the baby going to look like his father or his mother? But there is something also super important. We want to make sure that the donor comes from a family out of genetic diseases or out of chronic diseases. So yeah, it is very important to be aware of all the background, of the medical background of this donor. I would like to ask you, Otto, how is the screening, or how do you choose a donor?
Well, first of all, we look for people who wants to have this altruistic feeling to start this. And here in the clinic, we have a lot of inclusion criteria to see this woman is available. We see the mentally and medically. We need to make sure it's correctly the situation of this candidate, because we try to follow all the indication for the European or American Association of Regulation in Reproductive Endocrinology, and also Mexican Association like OFEPRIS, to make sure everything's okay in all the details related with the donor's health. So the inclusion criteria are very strict. This may save for the donor, and also make safe the process for the people who wants to use this program.
Correct. And how is the process? Is the egg donor have a consultation with the doctors? Do they perform testing? What happened?
They first of all fill a questionnaire with medical information, family information, since the genetic information to chronic disease, to make sure everything's okay in this part, hobbies, interests. We see a lot of details. After that they fill this questionnaire, we are going to make a medical interview with doctors. And the doctor is going to give extra information about the process, how the process works, how do we expect of the process. And once the donor is ready, approve all the tests. In the second step, she started with the stimulation process. We help to learn about how to apply the medication for the stimulation, the time that she needs to spend in this process, the visit that she needs to do in this process. The nurses give an explanation about how to apply the medications at the visits, And later, then we have the good size of the eggs. We are going to perform the retrieval of eggs. The doctor is going to perform a process called egg retrieval. And after that, and the third step, we are going to perform the IVF part with the intended parent couple, sperm. We perform the IVF at the moment to have the stage of embryo. Probably at day 5, we are going to perform the embryo transfer. And we expect 14 days later have a positive pregnancy test.
Before the egg donor coming here and do the stimulation, there are some characteristics that the patients consider when choosing an egg donor. And I know, David, that you are the first contact of patients who wants to select an egg donor, that already have a diagnosis, I don't know, that just will say some indications for egg donation, as a diminished ovarian reserve or women in menopause. When you have patients choosing the egg donor, what are the most important characteristics that patients consider once they choosing an egg donor?
First of all, their own characteristics. If they're Caucasians, blue eyes, or blonde, they looking for some egg donor that look alike them. And they tell me the characteristics they're looking for, and we have them. So I provide the information to them, and they can see every egg donor, and they select a donor, and then I do the rest.
Okay, what about fertility? Did they ask you about if they had babies before?
They ask me if they have kids, if they have proven fertility, and why. They ask me this also, and why they become a donor.
Why did they become a donor?
Yeah. And the egg donors share with us they would like to be egg donors because they would like to help people with infertility to have a baby.
Okay, so we know that we have a lot of patients coming from abroad. So I guess that the first contact that we have with them is via phone, via email, via Zoom. What is the process for becoming an official leave patient?
Okay. After they're having the first contact with the journey coordinators and the medical team, once they have been approved by the medical team, that's when they become an official patient.
All right. And after that, well, after you contacting with this patient, they have to choose the egg donor. Once they choose the egg donor, once they are ready to start, when do they arrive to Live Fertility Center? What they have to do once they're ready to come here and do the procedure?
Okay, once they select a donor and they already were proven by the medical team, they go with the patient intake team and they will coordinate the patient depending on the dates that they would like to be here, because we need to work according to their schedule. All right, we need to make them feel comfortable, and basically that will be the next step, to bring them here, give them hope, and have a very joyful journey until the first consultation here at Live in person with the medical team.
With the medical team. I guess that they had a preparation prior to that arrival, right?
Yeah, they go with a process with the medical team once they arrive, all right? And they will receive some medications, some indications from the doctor. Based on their information that they will need, they will receive a special treatment. Every patient receives a different special treatment.
And being this said, why patients should consider live fertility center to do this challenging procedure?
The patients, they answer these questions themselves because, well, this is Mexico. First of all, the weather. They love the weather, and also they love the place. They love our location, and they love the city. They love Puerto Vallarta, and I think it's a very nice option because also at Live Fertility Center, we are qualified to go with this process, and we work with our patients with joy, with care, and we really care about our patients, and that's what they see in us, and we also see that they enjoy to be here.
They are happy with their experience here, and the most important thing that they tell us is that they don't feel like a number, like they felt in the U.S. So Otto, can you give me more information about how is Live Fertility Center leading fertility in Mexico?
Well, this fertility center is a leading in the fertility center in Mexico because I think the most important thing is the compassion and staff of Live have. They understand the reason, the mentally and the physical challenge that this process represent. And this is one of the reason all the staff know about the process. They know about all the challenge. They are very committed about the function in the clinic, the reason for health, many patients. So I think Live is the best option for the experience with international patients, not only with locals. You can see in the review all the good experience of all our patients. So in this case, they are dedicated to feel the same feeling of our patients who are looking for a donor.
All right, we know that one of the main reasons that people look for an IVF out of the States is because of affordability. Is it affordable to do an egg donation at Live Fertility Center?
It really is. How was I saying before, our patients can say that because we have told by our own patients that, hey, everything was all right, thank you so much, the pricing it's great, and we haven't had any like, I don't want to say a complaint, but I haven't heard anything negative about pricing. They're very affordable. Yeah.
I want to ask, how do you guys feel about being part of this important process, which is egg donation?
Well, actually, I really enjoy to help the patients. I try to be in their place and I try to understand them, and I like to help them. I like to hear them out and help them out.
I know that you really love your job. I know that you really enjoy what you are doing. And I want to ask your personal thoughts about being a part of egg donation.
Well, I think it's a challenge in all the aspects. For doctor, they work hard to achieve a pregnancy. They work hard for that. The intended parent, all the sensation of the mentally and all the things that they need to do it, to start and continue, make the follow of this process and finish this process is a hard labor for donors. It's a proud sensation to help others. They change things in the life of the family. For the staff, they are committed to do it their best to make this possible. And personally, I feel very proud and comfortable because I think I'm changing things. I'm changing a little thing in the life of someone, and I'm very proud to work here in Lead for this reason because it's a truly labor of love.
Well, thank you guys for being here. This is the first podcast, your first invitation, but there will be many. Thank you for giving us more information about what a egg donor process is. We already know that it is not easy to get into this process. It is difficult for patients to decide to start. But once they have decided to start, well, they will have the best service with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, after this talk with these wonderful coordinators, that they are just helping our patients and make so much easier the process of egg donation. If you're thinking about doing egg donation, if you already have performed IVF with your own eggs and have not achieved a good result, or if you already being diagnosed with any condition that leads to having an egg donor, I encourage you to look for more information. I encourage you also to contact our team to give you more information, to give you a personalized and acute information, especially for you. And to all the listeners who are struggling with infertility, I want to tell you that you are not alone. And nowadays, we have many resources to help you achieve a pregnancy, to help you achieve that place that I know that you will love, that is parenthood. Thanks for watching. This is our first episode. As you may know, as you may see, we were very very excited and very also nervous to be here, but we are also very happy to have finally this contact with our patients. All right, guys, my name is Dr. Andrea Medina, and I'll see you until the next time.